Okay, like it or not, it is tomorrow. I'm feeling a lot more together. It's not whatever hour in the morning it was. Oh, whoops, I forgot my thing. There, let's try that. Okay. So it's running. She's been running overnight. It's neat the way this thing is set up, because you get just the train running, you see, and then you can, if you don't put on all the calendar stuff, it gives you the opportunity. You can see everything. There are the pallet stones, and you can see how they're interacting with the escape wheel, and it's one of the reasons why you get these things running without putting the calendar on, if you're unsure about how the outcome might end up. You can see it, isn't that neat? I can make myself steady. It's a fascinating system. Imagine people making these things by hand. Okay, let's see. That is from the other side. Okay. I'm a little unclear how that keeps ending out. That part. This part. All right. Well, let's start to put things back together. Interestingly, this twisted stem, which I thought was distorted from somebody cranking it over, I don't think it is. I found another one. This is for if you get a replacement movement, and you'll notice it too is cranked over. And they're definitely the same. Definitely the same. I have to find a new crown for that thing. Okay. Now these bits I didn't talk about. These, the craziest little things. I mean, I don't quite know why they would do this, but these are dial spacers. These little half-round schmuckety-doos. And they're spring-loaded for some reason. And they just sit right in there. That is an odd system and not one you see very often. So let's leave that off for the time being. So I can put this thing together. I don't need that. That is the old one. That's the old jacked up winding bridge, which actually has some fairly serious problems. I have a replacement that's in very good original condition that I've already gone through, but I haven't lubricated this. So I'll show you how that's done, because that's a lot of fun. At least I think it's fun. Okay. Setting pinion, winding pinion. Okay. No, that's too heavy. No, that's not correct. There, I like to put a little bit of lubricant on them just between those teeth because it makes it, I don't know, they sort of hang together a little bit, which makes it easier to control them. And I need to lube those bits anyway, so why not? Interesting. I wonder what engineer was like, we need to have the stem twisted. There was some reason for it, and they did it. Come on. My plan is not working. Would you come on? God, fine. I'll do it the old way. Trying to be clever never works. Okay. There's that. Come on. What am I doing? Oh, well, that's your problem. Okay, there we go. Come on. Okay. There we go. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay, not that one. Okay. Make sure that we're in frame here. I'm just looking at this. Don't mind me. I'm not putting anything down yet. This is becoming a little more difficult because I really need to be right on top of this. So, hang on a second. Give me some room. Let's see if I can really see what's happening here without bumping my head. just 1 second. Okay, so my apologies. I really did have to be right on top of this to make it work, because especially the keyless works on these ETAs are just really complicated, and there's a whole bunch of levers and things that are underneath this nested together. They have sort of afterthoughts in terms of adding on functionality. So the keyless works for these earlier pieces. Okay, they wanted to add the corrector lever here for the day, and so they had to come up with this diddly here, which does two things. It bridges between the quick set, the date corrector, date 8 corrector, and it also includes a spring right here. It's just all these little parts. I mean, by this point in the 70s, Seiko had done away with a lot of this kind of stuff, especially things like, little shepherd's crook springs and leaf springs and things that could go kapoink. They were just stamping everything out and being done with it. But you can kind of see it together here now that it's running. And we've got our last thing. This is a little keeper downer thingy, and it's got a couple tabs on the bottom. And those tabs go in these little divots right here. Yeah, it is. Whenever somebody writes me, they're like, hey, it doesn't happen too much anymore, but they're like, they go and they've got their ETA 2824 or whatever the heck it is, and they've gone to pull the stem and they pushed the stem too hard, which jacks up the keyless works. It gets the click lever out of place, and I just think about what they are going to have to do in order to correct that. It's a lot harder than it needs to be. So this is sort of the, I don't know, thrust bearing, rotator diddly kind of stuff that the day wheel rotates on. There isn't any kind of loose stuff on this. It's just little bits of corrosion left over from when this thing had moisture in it. It's not deadly. I've seen worse. I think I say that a lot. Don't I say that a lot? I think I say that a lot. I have seen worse. Now that's interesting. Because unlike Seiko, there's no window for me to hold this lever back, unless I'm supposed to go in there like that. Maybe. So let's try that. We're going to go kaboink, 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 and we're going to move that back. Boy, it really does not want. Aha, it worked. Look at that. And that little warpy spring, that keeps everything down the way it is supposed to. Cool. Interesting. Donnerstag, Nifty, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They could have. No, they couldn't. It's like they have the week twice on here. Why didn't they go with dual language? Well, they don't have anything to make it jump twice. That's why. And that's what you'd have to do. Okay, so now we're to the point where we have to drop our dial. They're the little metal springy diddly things. I cleaned the dial and it came out pretty well. It still has some flaky bits on the surface, but it's not bad. It's cleaner than it was for sure. Back dials is stamped 21 and 37 for some reason. I'm sure that means something to somebody, but that somebody ain't me. Oh, this isn't going to work because I don't have the levers out. Do I? Would you get out? Are you fighting me? Always with the fighting. I don't know why objects hate us so much, but they do. Just hate us. Resentful. Why am I singing that horrible old song? Makes me wonder, if I grew up in a world without produced music, what would I have stuck in my head all the time? What do we have going on here? Okay. Let me just... Yeah. Would you knock it off? Just get this other one in, and then we will look at what the heck is happening. Let's get this back in this so we can protect the movement some. I gotta clean that dial. Look at that. There we go. Neat. I want to look at that dial now before I do anything else. Let's see if we're looking at the right thing now. Yeah. It looks like my date window bar there is bent a little, so I'm going to have to deal with that. Yikes. Anyway, I wonder who this dude was. I remember reading in the past, it's like, people in the 50s and the 60s, whatever. You go to Switzerland and you can get off the airport, or you're wandering around and doing touristy things, and they have a million billion different watches that one could buy for, relatively speaking, not a ton of money. It would say made in Switzerland or something like that, and you could have a little treasure that you brought home. Did this dude pay the same amount as others? Like, there are 100 kabillion of this kind of thing, these kinds of chronographs. I mean, this is by a company called Ullman, and as far as I can tell, Ullman didn't do much of anything. Case is very similar to other cases that were made. It has a Landeron 248. Doesn't mean it's not cool, but it's just a lot of them were cranked out at that time. Come on. Let's try and make it a little cleaner, shall we? Now, it may not feel like it to you because the video jumped, but I've actually been doing this for a long time this evening. And this, because this is another day, to get all that stuff right and make it where it was supposed to be, it just took time. So I'm going to take a break now and let this run for a bit so we can get the calendar side run in and see how we're doing. Yeah, I cleaned that dial as best as I can, and it's still got some marking on the surface, and it is what it is. It's cleaner than it was. Just trying to make it a little bit nicer. Okay, I'm going to take a break now. Okay, so I was feeling bad that I didn't show you guys the full assembly on the calendar side. I was like, oh, that sucks. And then I realized I never actually showed you guys the assembly on the train side. So I said, well, hey, this is a great opportunity to show people the one advantage about how these are set up. Now, I was complaining about the keyless works and all this other stuff being super complicated. And technically, this is, you don't have a single barrel and train bridge like the Seiko, but because it's set up like this, that means, the rest of the watch is done. Like, it's all assembled, but I was able to pull the train on its own just for fun. Hang on a second. Would you stop it? Oh, would you knock it off? What the hell? What I don't understand. Okay. Sorry, I bagged these things to make sure that I can find them. Hang on a second. So anyway, I figured I'd rip this thing apart, just the train bridge, so you guys could see what in the heck is going on. It makes it really easy. So like, say, these watches, even with, they have shock protection on the balance. So when you tend to break something, when you drop a watch and it stops running, it's almost always the escape wheel as a result. But this, with the Seiko, you'd be screwed. You'd have to rip the whole thing down. This, you just pull the winding bridge, balance, let down the mainspring, and rip it apart. So since I had this apart, I went through and I put everything, all this train stuff, back through the ultrasonic. Why not? Every time I want to put something together, I want to make sure that it's clean and correct. So then I went and cleaned all this lubrication off. Cool. Hang on just one second. Sorry about that. I was just about to sneeze. All right, let's put this back together. Oh, come on. There's that. Yeah, if ever I have to go into a movement to check something, I basically run it through the cleaner again. I'm not going to gamble with it. People were like, oh, just open it up and check on it right quick. And it doesn't work that way. It do not work that way. And then you got to go through all the testing to make sure you didn't jack anything up. Hang on. Yeah, jacking stuff up. Okay, now I need a little bit of extra moxie here. Come on. Always with the fighting me. Anyway, so that's what makes it nice, relatively speaking, is that it's such a simple thing to do. To rip that train bridge apart. It's one advantage of old tech. Hi, honey.
Hi.
What's going on?
Getting some rice.
Yay. Yes. Okay, let me just make sure we got us a free running train before I crank that down. Oh, stop it, stop it. Always want to double check. Yeah. There's nothing like cranking down a screw head and hearing a little teeny tiny snick. You're like, oh, great. I haven't done that in a while, but it doesn't mean I'm not capable of it. Okay. Okay. Never miss an opportunity to clean something if you can. I don't even know how many days I've been making this video for. I do it when I have time. Yeah, this is another one of these situations where I need to be right on top of this, and I'm not. So let me do that. Okay. So that's all in and clicking. Okay. Looking pretty tasty. Let's put it on the time grapher. Okay, starting in. Basic numbers. For Swiss, I mean, 240s, 250s, that's low. That's like unserviced. So I'm going to let this run in. I mean, considering I just cleaned and redid the train, that makes sense. It's got to settle in. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff. So one of the weird things about an ETA movement, especially these older ones, is you have to be super careful about how you lubricate this. This is the winding bridge. So a long time ago, I had one of these. It was a family watch. And I went and I carefully lubricated everything. And you'll see, I mean, this thing has tons of jewels. Even the reverser wheels have multiple jewels in them. So you lubricate everything. What happens is there's so much pull from the surface tension of all the lubricants that it becomes almost impossible to hand wind it or even automatic wind it. So the trick, I was told, and which I have used ever since, is actually kind of interesting. What you do is you get yourself a blort of lubricant there, like so. You put it in your handy dandy vintage glass diddly for just such an occasion. So we've got a little bit of lubrication in there, right? Now, a little bit of lighter fluid, just a little bit. Naphtha, that's the stuff. And then what you do is you encourage the lubrication to go into the mix. Then what you do, soak the bridge. Just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let this air dry. You've got this mixture of thinner, of naphtha and lubricants in here. You let it air dry, and the heavier lubricants will stay behind when the very light refined spirits go away, leaving a teeny tiny film of lubrication everywhere inside this thing. I have used this method now for years, and it has never failed me. The guy that told me this he was old school, and he's no longer with us. Okay, I gotta clean that out here. Anyway, but it always worked. Because these ETA movements. So we're gonna let this air dry. Right over there, and it can think happy thoughts. In the meantime, okay, look at that, huh? Neat. Get these off of here. They're nice to have, but they make doing really super fine stuff a little difficult. Get away. Go. Okay, so let's check this again. Sadly, the original tritium dots here are very weak. There's still tritium in there, but I had to relume those. That's unfortunate, don't you think? I do. Is it supposed to have a curve like that? I don't know. Okay. See if you guys can see what I'm doing here. These lights blinding people. I don't want to do that. Okay. Okay. So we've firmed up that loom. It's a little patinaed down, but you know, what are you going to do? It's original. Anyway, I wish I knew the history of this piece. I wonder what happened to the gentleman that bought it. Okay, so let's push it forward here till we get our date change. Okay, sometimes I try this. Try to see if I can be clever. Let's set that for a little before. Oops. Well, that explains it. Wrong one. Nope, I thought I was being cool, and I totally was not. I can normally do that with Seiko. I can make that happen. I get it just right, anticipating where the hand's going to drop. Hang on just 1 second for me. Yeah, I think that's better. There we go. Good, got that all nice and clean. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm going to check our hand clearances. Make sure that that thing is making it above that date window. Yeah. Okay. Now here's another old school method. I never knew what the actual advantage of this was, but I knew one gentleman, and he would always set at 6. I don't know why he did that, but he thought that that was an important thing, and then it had a subtle improvement over stuff. Okay, so we set at 6. How does that look? Not perfect. He's a crazy person. I prefer to set at 12. If I can, that's what I do. Okay, so that is noon in theory. Aha! More stuff. Always afraid I'm blinding or boring people. Well, you know, if you're still down with me after all this time, then I guess you know what you're in for. Did pretty good movement. I'm pretty happy with it. I wish it had hacking. That's one of the things I really do wish, because I do like hacking, but I wonder if there's a way to add hacking. I wonder if there's a... I should look into that. Check our date switch over again. No. Clearance is good. I should probably make that so it's super correct. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure. Have it at the start or the end? Or should it be midnight when this date clicks over? I don't know. You know what? I have enough time going into this now. Okay. So for fun. Oh, right. We have to look for a crystal for this. Okay. So, oh gosh, and I have to do, why am I taking this away? I have to find a crown too. I have to find a crown for this. Because this crown is roasted. There's nothing in there. It's empty. So, how about this? Let's put this up on Time Grapher and let that thing sit and think happy thoughts. And let's look at crowns for this. Okay, so I went and dug through all my stuff, including boxes and boxes of original Swiss crowns. Gosh, I've had these forever. Lots and lots and lots. And the closest I found, so here is, this is the original, well, quote original crown. You remember it's missing the inside bit. There's the stem. So this, going through all my crap, was what I was able to find. Just about the same depth. I think it looks pretty okay. So we're going to call that good. And the seal in this definitely got some spring to it, which is good. Got some storage wear, but that's about it. And it's a tap 10, so it ought to work just fine. Just like that. Okay. Oh darn it, I should have greased that crown before. Oh well, doesn't matter. You know what? I'll let my greaser do the walking. Okay. There it is. And you can turn it, which is important. Okay. Lumen's running at 272 now. Backup stem. So the reason I'm doing this is I want to check for depth. I think that crown is going to be just fine, but I definitely want to check for depth. These things are always a pain in the butt with this kind of stuff. Oh, well, that would help. Make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. There's some other stuff I did too. The watch does not have, it did not have casing screws, and so I put some in because I do like good casing screws, and so there's that. Now we get to have some fun. You'll remember our bridge. All those volatile bits should have gotten out of here. I think the only issue ever with that thing is that it leaves sort of a haze on there, and you gotta clean that off manually. Okay. Where is it? Aha. Now the one thing about these that's cool is typically the screws that go on this bridge are blued. It's sort of an ETA cork. That's not it. That's not what I want. I get for not prepping. This one does not appear to be blued. Oh, and it's also the wrong kind of screw. That's what I get for grabbing the wrong thing. Come on. That's not what I need either. That's what I get for not prepping. No. Oh. No. Really? No. That's not it. Hang on a second. Okay. So, it's together. I put a crystal. I have a crystal in it that I found a crystal that matched the original. The original had a big honking crack across it, but you can see it's this kind. It's not the rounded top. It has this big bevel on it. I found the closest one I had to it. I considered putting in this fasted one, but I'm just not man enough to do that. $25 joules. Not bad, huh? It's still running in, but I mean, I have it together, obviously. So what I'm going to do now, let's put this case back seal in here. Doggy, how'd you get down here? Oh. I forgot. Where the heck is it? Where is it? Where is it? Aha. More or less done, right? Okay. Make sure that I'm up here where you guys can see what I'm doing. This has been fun. It's taken days, but whatever. Okay, so there. Insomnia watch number 2. So again, I replicated everything as best as I could. I found the same kind of size crown. I duplicated the same crystal type. I wish it was one of the round-edged domed ones more than one of these beveled-edged flat ones, but there it is. And for fun, here it is next to an equivalent era Seiko dress watch day date. That looks pretty neat. Isn't this one cool? Instead of having the radial pattern, it's got what I call the raw, just like the beams of the sun coming down over Akhenaten. That's it. Those crazy Egyptian heretics. A really cool watch. Isn't that neat? Look at that original loom. Isn't that kick-ass? Really nice 25 jewel sea line. I should get this one going too one of these days. That's a nice watch. Anyway, so here it is. Well, let's... What the heck time is it? Okay, it's 7:26, let's say, roughly. Let's call it. Today is Mittwoch. There you go. Today is the... see, that's the thing. I don't like not having a no-date watch. I don't like having a no-date watch because I never can remember what the date is. Today's the 22nd. There you go. With the lubrication job that we did on the winding bridge, the winding is nice and light. Before I knew what to do, you would try and wind it and you'd think you were going to break the stem. Okay, so I don't know that this is the correct kind of bracelet that this watch had. This is definitely vintage. It is definitely glycine. It definitely fits. I don't know, would it have a taper or have that straight? I'm not sure. I haven't been able to find a picture of this one. I mean, alternatively, I could put like a... I don't know. I don't think these look very good. So... there's lots of advantages in the world of having strong thumbnails. One of them is being able to do that. Aha! Let me find the other one. Come on, where'd that other one go? I'm going to have to take some links out of this one. It's huge. Okay. They're like, what? Well, here, let me tell you this about thumbnails. They don't scratch steel. Come on. Of course, it makes it harder to see. Oh, dear. Here I am trying to show off, and I just failed. Aha! So again, I don't know that that's the right bracelet, or I don't know. What do you think? Amazing. I've had this watch for so long. Years and years and years. I told Sabrina how long we'd had it and where I got it from, and she was like, wow. Well, there it is. Cool. Well, I'll resize it and we'll see how it goes.